Chosen one. Someone has been watching you very carefully. They've noticed something that's making them absolutely panic. You don't look at them the same way anymore. That spark in your eyes when you see them, gone. The excitement in your voice when they call, vanished. They can feel it in their bones that you've emotionally disconnected from them completely. What I'm about to reveal will explain everything that's been happening to you lately. The weird encounters, the unexpected visits, the sudden interest in your life after months of neglect. There's a reason for all of it, and when you understand what they're really planning, you're going to see this person in a completely different light. The baby manipulation scheme is just the beginning. Wait until you discover what they did to block your original connection. While you were giving this person your whole heart, believing you were building something real together, they were living a complete lie. They had someone else the entire time, not just a casual thing, a 5-year commitment. They were engaged, married, or in a long-term partnership while making you believe you had a chance. Here's what's going to blow your mind. You were supposed to be with them. The universe had it all planned out. Divine timing, perfect alignment, everything set up for you two to build something beautiful together. Someone interfered, something blocked it. They made a choice that went against their own destiny. The signs were always there, those phone calls they had to take in private. The weekends they were mysteriously unavailable, the way they never posted pictures of you together, the hesitation when you talked about the future. Your intuition was screaming the truth, but they gaslit you into ignoring it. They've been living in two separate worlds, giving pieces of themselves to multiple people while never fully committing to anyone. They thought they could manage this indefinitely, but the universe had other plans. Their carefully constructed web of lies is about to collapse, and they know it. The pregnancy trap they're setting up isn't random. It's because they know they chose wrong, and they're getting desperate. How they figured out you're done with them is absolutely chilling. There was this one conversation, they remember it perfectly, when everything changed. You were talking, and something in your energy just shifted. Your responses got shorter, your attention drifted. That look of adoration you used to give them was replaced by something they'd never seen before, indifference. They watched you check your phone while they were speaking. They noticed you didn't laugh at their jokes anymore. When they touched you, you didn't lean into it like you used to. Every signal they'd learned to read from you was telling them the same terrifying truth. You were emotionally checking out. It wasn't dramatic. There was no big fight or tearful confrontation. It was quieter and more devastating than that. Your soul simply decided it had had enough. The part of you that used to light up around them went dark, and they could feel the switch happening in real time. They tried to ignore it at first. They told themselves it was temporary, that you were just going through a phase. But as days turned into weeks and your emotional distance only grew wider, they had to face the truth. They had pushed you too far for too long. That's when the panic started. That's when they began calculating. That's when they started planning the manipulation campaign that's about to unfold. The baby scheme is twisted. Wait until you understand their full strategy. The moment they realized you didn't want them anymore, something activated in their brain. All those months they took you for granted, assuming you'd always be available, suddenly felt like the biggest mistake of their life. They had been playing this game where they kept you on the back burner while they figured out their messy situation. They thought they had infinite time. They believed your feelings for them were permanent. They assumed they could string you along indefinitely while they decided what they really wanted. Your emotional withdrawal shattered all of those assumptions. For the first time in this entire situation, they felt powerless. They were used to being the one who controlled the temperature of the relationship, hot when they wanted attention, cold when they needed space. Your consistent warmth had been their security blanket, and now it was gone. This loss of control triggered something primitive in them. They started seeing you not as a person with valid feelings, but as a possession that was slipping away. The strategies they're about to employ aren't about love, they're about ownership and dominance. Their next moves are going to shock you. The fake emergencies, the pregnancy discussions, the sudden marriage talk, it's all connected to one desperate goal. Hold on to your seat for this next revelation. If you don't already have children together, they've been seriously considering creating a pregnancy situation on purpose, not because they want to build a family with you out of love, but because they think a baby will trap you into staying with them. In their twisted mind, pregnancy equals automatic forgiveness. A child means you'll have to give them another chance. They're calculating that if there's a baby involved, you won't be able to walk away from them completely. If you're already dealing with a pregnancy situation, they see this as their golden ticket. They're planning to use this to manipulate you back into their web of control. The depression driving these decisions is darker than you realize. There's something about their current relationship that's making this even worse. What's really eating them alive is beyond disturbing. Behind closed doors, this person is battling severe depression, and it's all because of how they treated you. They replay every conversation you had about your future together, all those plans you made, all those dreams you shared about building something beautiful. They know they destroyed something sacred. If you were already in a committed relationship, they're drowning in guilt about how they ruined it. They can't escape the reality that their choices shattered something that was meant to be eternal. The weight of knowing they chose wrong is crushing them. Every day they see their current situation and compare it to what they could have had with you. Every night they lie awake thinking about the life they threw away. Instead of facing this guilt honestly, they're about to do something that will reveal just how emotionally immature they really are. Here's what's making their depression even more unbearable. They can't stop thinking about the wedding conversations you two had, those late-night talks about your future ceremony, the guest list discussions, the honeymoon destinations you researched together. Those dreams are torturing them now because they realize they destroyed something that was supposed to be sacred. If you two were already married, they're haunted by the vows they broke. If you two were planning to get married, they're devastated by the future they threw away. Every wedding they see reminds them of what they lost. Every happy couple triggers their regret. They're surrounded by constant reminders of the life they were supposed to build with you. This is why their next manipulation attempts are going to be so focused on commitment promises. They're going to try to convince you that marriage is still possible. The level of desperation you're about to witness is actually embarrassing. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't for everyone. It's for the ones who walked through hell smiling and came out glowing. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to remember who you are, and we remember with you. This isn't a community, it's a war room for the spiritually elite, a headquarters for timeline jumpers, curse breakers, and reality benders. Every weekly Zoom call is a live frequency upgrade, where dragons speak, codes unlock, and the veil lifts. You'll get access to elite downloads, energetic technologies, and ancient transmissions that were never meant for the masses. Because let's be real, most people can't handle what you carry. Inside, you don't heal, you resurrect, you reclaim, you reign. Click the link in the description. If you're tired of surface-level fluff and ready to sit at the table of the anointed, then welcome to the Obsidian Inner Order, where you become the source. Get ready for this. They're about to launch a campaign of half-hearted attempts to win you back. And when I say half-hearted, I mean they're still not willing to put in real effort, even while they're supposedly fighting for you. You're going to see grand gestures that lack substance. They'll send you flowers with no personal note. They'll make dinner reservations at expensive restaurants but show up late. They'll promise you the world in dramatic speeches but continue the same toxic behaviors the very next day. These attempts are designed to give them the illusion that they're trying without actually requiring them to change anything fundamental about themselves. They want to be able to say, "I did everything I could," while doing the absolute minimum. They'll make promises they have zero intention of keeping. "I'll go to therapy, I'll leave them for you, I'll change everything." But watch their actions, not their words. The therapy appointment will never get scheduled. The leaving will keep getting postponed. The change will never materialize. The most insulting part is that they genuinely believe these shallow attempts will be enough to reclaim your heart. They think your standards have dropped so low that any effort at all should impress you. They're about to learn just how wrong they are. What triggered your emotional immunity to their manipulation is actually fascinating. You started seeing this person with complete clarity. Those affairs they thought they hid perfectly, you know about all of them. The lies they told so convincingly, you can spot them instantly now. The manipulation tactics they used so smoothly, they're completely transparent to you. This clarity isn't just insight, it's a superpower. You're no longer the person who could be gaslit, confused, or manipulated by their psychological games. You've evolved beyond their reach, and this terrifies them more than anything else. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, like scales falling from your eyes one by one. First, you started noticing inconsistencies in their stories. Then you began questioning their explanations for suspicious behavior. Finally, the full picture emerged, and you saw them for exactly who they are. This awakening is what separates chosen ones from ordinary people. While others might choose to remain in denial, you chose truth over comfort. While others might make excuses for toxic behavior, you chose clarity over confusion. This level of consciousness is threatening to someone who relies on deception to maintain control. They used to be able to predict your reactions. They knew exactly which buttons to push to get you back in line. That power is gone forever, and they know it. Your unpredictability is driving them to the edge of sanity. How this is affecting their daily life is actually pathetic. They cannot figure you out anymore. The person who used to share every detail of their day has gone completely silent. They don't know who you're talking to, where you're going, what you're thinking, or what you're planning. You've cut off their access to your inner world, and they're spiraling because they can't manipulate what they can't access. They're cycling between rage and desperation because they've lost all control over the narrative of your life. This mystery you've become isn't accidental. Your soul is protecting itself by creating distance and unpredictability. You're operating on instinct now, following an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to handle manipulative people. They used to have a front row seat to your thoughts and feelings. They could gauge your moods, predict your responses, and calculate their next moves accordingly. That access has been completely revoked, and it's driving them absolutely insane. They're probably stalking your social media, asking mutual friends about you, and analyzing every interaction for clues about your mental state. The person who used to know your every move is now completely locked out of your world. This loss of control is making them consider actions so desperate that when you hear about them, you'll be amazed at how far they're willing to go to get their power back. The terrible first impression they made is haunting them. There's a pattern here that goes deeper than you realize. Here's why they know they can never undo the damage. Counterbejan, they're fully aware that they destroyed this connection from the very beginning. That first impression was catastrophic, and they know it. They came into your life with the wrong energy, wrong intentions, and wrong level of commitment. Every conversation that died between you died because they refused to nourish it. They never made you a priority. They remained emotionally unavailable while expecting your continued investment. The relationship progression you needed never happened because they wouldn't provide it. Looking back, they can see exactly where they went wrong. They should have been consistent from day one. They should have communicated their intentions clearly. They should have made you feel secure instead of constantly wondering where you stood. Instead, they chose games over honesty. They chose convenience over commitment. They chose their comfort over your feelings. Every choice they made in those early days created the foundation for everything that's happening now. They're recognizing that everything happening to them is the direct result of how they chose to show up. They started a game thinking they could control the outcome, and they're about to lose spectacularly. The regret is eating them alive because they can see exactly how different things could have been if they had just chosen differently from the beginning. But some mistakes can't be undone, and some first impressions can never be overcome. The moment everything shifted in your favor is absolutely incredible. You started noticing that this person operates from the exact same playbook with everyone. The non-communication, the emotional unavailability, the manipulation tactics, they repeat this cycle with every single person they encounter. You began seeing their entire relationship history laid out like a roadmap, the way they treated their ex before you, identical to how they treated you, the way they're treating their current situation, following the same destructive script. This revelation was like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. Suddenly, everything made sense. Their behavior wasn't personal, it was pathological. They weren't struggling to love you properly, they were incapable of loving anyone properly. The pattern recognition gave you incredible power because it removed the illusion that you could somehow fix or change them. You realized that every person before you probably tried the same things you tried. Every person after you will probably experience the same frustrations you experienced. This person has never learned how to love properly because they've never faced real consequences for their behavior. They just move from person to person, leaving the same trail of confusion and heartbreak. You're the first person to actually see the pattern clearly. You're the first person to refuse to participate in their toxic cycle. You're the first person to say enough and actually mean it. This recognition is what gave you your power back. Here's what happened next. Without even realizing it, you stopped playing by their rules and started playing by your own. While they were being detached and unavailable, you were learning, growing, and becoming stronger. They thought they were playing chess while you played checkers. They believed they could keep you as backup while they sorted their chaotic life. They initiated psychological warfare where they held all the power. That power dynamic has completely flipped. You're about to win their own game, and they can feel it happening. They're staring at the board, realizing they're about to lose everything. But first, there's something painful you need to understand about how you used to give to them. You would make plans together, dinner dates, weekend trips, important events, and they would stand you up. Not once, not twice. This became their signature move. You'd get ready, arrive at the location, wait for hours, and they simply wouldn't show up. No call, no text, no explanation until much later, with some weak excuse about being busy or something coming up. Each time this happened, a piece of your heart broke. Each cancellation chipped away at your trust. Each no-show made you question your own worth. Were you not important enough for them to honor their commitments? This pattern of standing you up was actually a power play. They were training you to have lower expectations. They were conditioning you to accept crumbs instead of demanding the feast you deserved. Every time they failed to show up for you, the universe was preparing someone who will never let you down. Here's when everything shifted for you. You remember that conversation where you poured your heart out to them. Maybe it was about your dreams, your fears, or your feelings for them, and they gave you the most emotionally vacant response you'd ever received. Maybe they just said okay to something deeply personal you shared. Maybe they changed the subject immediately. Maybe they responded with something completely unrelated to what you'd just opened up about. In that moment, something inside you broke, but also something inside you awakened. You realized you were having a one-sided emotional relationship. You were giving your whole heart to someone who was offering you emotional crumbs in return. You were vulnerable and authentic, while they remained closed off and detached. That was the moment you stopped trying so hard. You stopped sharing your deepest thoughts. You stopped seeking their emotional validation. You stopped pouring from your cup into their empty vessel. They noticed the change immediately. Suddenly, they weren't getting the emotional supply they'd grown accustomed to. Your heart was no longer freely available to them, and they had no idea how to earn it back because they'd never had to work for it in the first place. This emotional withdrawal on your part is what triggered their current panic. They're finally realizing what they lost when you stopped giving them unlimited access to your inner world. Trompe d'Arc. This person is about to launch the most desperate campaign you've ever witnessed. They're planning workplace appearances, manufactured emergencies, and social media manipulation campaigns. They'll involve your friends, your family, and anyone else they can recruit into their scheme. They're willing to embarrass themselves publicly rather than accept that they lost something precious through their own choices. They'll spread lies, create fake drama, and attempt to make you jealous, anything to regain their position of power in your life. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. They're not just targeting you anymore. They're about to launch a full-scale manipulation campaign involving everyone in your circle. They're going to turn your mutual friends into flying monkeys, feeding them lies about you to try to isolate you from your support system. They'll tell your friends that you're going through a phase or that you're being influenced by someone else. They'll paint themselves as the victim and you as the villain. They'll try to make your friends question your judgment and pressure you to give them another chance. This isn't just manipulation anymore. This is psychological warfare. And they're about to find out that chosen ones don't fight alone. The universe has been watching all of this unfold. What's being prepared for you while they plot their comeback is absolutely extraordinary. Here's what this person doesn't understand. You're not just anyone they can manipulate back into their life. You're a chosen one, which means you have spiritual protection they cannot penetrate. Every manipulation tactic they try will backfire. Every guilt trip will fall flat. Every attempt to make you doubt yourself will be met with even stronger clarity about who you really are. The universe itself is conspiring to keep you safe from their toxicity, while simultaneously preparing something beautiful for your future. This protection is so powerful that their next desperate move will actually push you further away instead of drawing you closer. Your awakening to your true worth is about to trigger something incredible. There was this breakthrough moment when you finally understood that you deserve infinitely better than what they've been offering. Not just slightly better, not just different, infinitely better. You weren't put on this earth to convince someone to love you properly. You weren't chosen to wait indefinitely for someone to recognize your value. You weren't meant to settle for crumbs when you deserve the whole feast. This realization is your transformation point. Everything that happened before this moment was preparing you for everything that's about to happen after it. The toxic energy you've been carrying is about to be released forever. There's something else you need to understand about the bridge between you and them. Here's how it's going to happen. The energy this person carries is actually poisonous to your spiritual well-being. Every interaction leaves you drained, confused, and questioning your own reality. This isn't love, it's energetic vampirism. You're being called to see this situation for what it really is, a test that you're about to pass with flying colors, a lesson that you've fully learned, a stepping stone that you're ready to step off of forever. To receive what the universe has prepared for you, you must completely sever this toxic connection, not reduce it, not limit it, completely obliterate it. The reason this is so crucial is because of what's approaching your life right now. Let's be completely honest about something. There's simply too much damage here to ever repair. Too many broken promises, too many lies, too many times they chose someone else over you, too many moments they left you hanging without explanation. They never came back to apologize properly. They never attempted to make real amends. They just left everything suspended in the air, expecting you to wait indefinitely while they figured out their chaos. Every betrayal created a crack in the foundation. Every lie added another layer of mistrust. Every broken commitment washed away more of the love you once felt. The bridge between you isn't just damaged, it's completely destroyed. You tried to rebuild it multiple times. You offered forgiveness, you gave second chances, third chances, fourth chances, but they kept burning down everything you tried to reconstruct. The universe is showing you that some bridges are meant to collapse completely, so you can build new ones with people who will honor them. While this person has been plotting their desperate comeback, the universe has been orchestrating something beautiful specifically for you. Someone is being prepared who will love you exactly the way you've always deserved to be loved. This person will show up consistently without you having to ask. They'll communicate clearly without you having to decode mixed messages. They'll make you a priority without you having to compete for their attention. They'll build with you instead of tearing you down. The contrast between what you've been accepting and what you're about to receive will be so dramatic that you'll wonder why you ever settled for less. This new love is closer than you think. Here's what needs to happen for it to manifest. To receive this extraordinary love, you must completely close the door on what was never meant for you. The universe needs to see that you're serious about receiving what you deserve. As long as you're energetically connected to someone who treats you poorly, you're blocking your own miracle. The moment you release what's toxic, you create space for what's magical. This isn't just about rejecting one person. This is about claiming your destiny as someone who was chosen for greatness in love. Your moment of ultimate power is right here, right now. This is it, chosen one. Your moment of ultimate transformation. You can choose to believe their lies about changing, or you can trust the universe's plan for your life. You can choose to go backward into familiar dysfunction, or you can step forward into the extraordinary love that's been written specifically for your soul. The person who's been playing games with your heart is about to escalate their manipulation to levels you never thought possible. They'll pull out every trick they know. They might even succeed temporarily if you're not prepared. You know the truth now, though. You know their patterns. You know their weaknesses. Most importantly, you know your incredible worth. One told, you weren't chosen to convince. You weren't chosen to wait. You were chosen to experience love in its purest, most powerful form. You were chosen to break generational patterns of dysfunction. You were chosen to show others what's possible when you refuse to accept less than you deserve. You were chosen to be living proof that real love exists. This journey you've been on, all the pain, all the confusion, all the heartbreak, it was preparing you for the love story of a lifetime. When you make the right choice, when you completely release what was never meant for you, everything will click into place. You'll understand why every heartbreak was necessary, why every disappointment was actually redirection, why every ending was really a beginning. That person had to reveal their true nature so you could see it clearly. You had to lose your emotions for them so you could save them for someone worthy. You had to experience toxicity so you could recognize purity when it arrives. Everything that broke you was preparing you for everything that will heal you. The choice is yours. Your future self is waiting.